Hi, friends. We're going to read a story today. It's called Mirette on the Highwire. Your teacher would like me to read this to you today. It's about Emily. It's wrote about Marriott, and it's wrote by Emily Arnold McCulley. The illustration on this page shows Paris, the city where the story takes place. The time is 100 years ago. What do you notice about the man and the girl? These are the two main characters of the story, the man and the girl. 100 years ago in Paris, when theaters and music halls drew travelers playing from all over the world, the best place to stay was at the Widow Gatto's boarding house on English Street. Acrobats, jugglers, actors, and mimes from as far away as Moscow and New York reclined on the widow's feather mattress and devoured her kidney stews. So, Marriott's mother, we're going to find out who owns the boarding house. Madame Marriott worked hard to make her guests comfortable, and so did her daughter, Marriott. The girl was an expert at washing linens, chopping leeks, paring potatoes, and mopping floors. She was a good listener, too. Nothing pleased her mother more than to overhear the vagabond players tell of their adventures in this town and that long ago on the road. So a boarding house is what Marriott's mother and Madame Gata had. And a boarding house is like a hotel today, except people rent rooms in the owner's house. So they rent room in the owner's house instead of in like another building, like a hotel. So it's kind of like a hotel, except they rent a room in their home. Marriott and her mother also cooked dinner for the people that were staying there in the boarding house. So you can see them in the illustration. There's her mother cooking, and there's Marriott in the background, and they're feeding the people at the boarding house. And there's another picture of it. One evening, a tall, sad-faced stranger arrived. He told Madame Gatto he was Benelli, a retired Highwire walker. I am here for rest, he said. I have just the room for you. In the back, where it's quiet, she said, but on the ground floor with no view. Perfect, said the stranger. I will take my meals alone. So what do we already know about Benelli? Well, we already know he's a stranger. He arrived in town. He's a Highwire walker. He's retired from that. He doesn't do that anymore. He just needs a room to rest. So we know he's a stranger. He used to be a Highwire walker, but he's retired. That means he doesn't do it as a living to make money anymore. So let's find out what happens. The next afternoon, when Marriott came for the sheets, there was a stranger crossing the courtyard on air. Marriott was enchanted. Of all the things a person could do, this must be the most magical. Her feet tingled as if they wanted to jump on the wire beside Benelli. Marriott worked up the courage to speak. Excuse me, Monsieur Belly, I want to learn to do that, she cried. Benelli sighed. That would not be a good idea, he said. Once you start, your feet are never happy again on the ground. Oh, please teach me, Marriott begged. My feet are already unhappy on the ground. But he shook his head no. Marriott watched him every day. He would slide his feet onto the wire, cast his eyes ahead, looking down as if in a trance. Finally, she couldn't resist any longer. When Benelli was gone, she jumped up on the wire to try it herself. Her arms flared like windmills. In a moment, she was back on the ground. Benelli made it look so easy. Surely she could do it too if she kept trying. In 10 tries, she balanced on one foot for a few seconds. In a day, she managed 3 steps without wavering. Finally, after a week of many, many falls, she walked the length of the wire. She couldn't wait to show Benelli. He was silent for a long time. Then he said, "In the beginning, everyone falls. Most give up, but you kept trying. Perhaps you have a talent as well." "Oh, thank you," said Mirette. She got up 2 hours earlier every day to finish her chores before the sun shone in the courtyard. The rest of the day was for lessons and practice. Benelli was a strict master. "Never let your eyes stray," he told her day after day. "Think only of the wire and of crossing to the end." When she could cross dozens of times without falling, he taught her the wire walker salute. Then she learned to run, to lie down, and to turn somersaults. "I will never ever fall again," Mirette shouted. "Do not boast," Benelli said so sharply that Mirette lost her balance and had to jump down. So why do you think Benelli was sharp with Marriott or angry with Marriott? That's right, because she was boasting about, "I will never fall again," and boasting about how good she was. And he said, "Never do that, never boast." So he wasn't very happy about her bragging about how she was doing. One night, an agent from Aslan's Haberdorm in London rented a room. He noticed Benelli on his way to dinner. "What a shock to see him here," he exclaimed. "See who?" asked the mime. "Why, the great Benelli. Didn't you know he was in the room at the back?" "Benelli? The one who crossed Niagara Falls on a 1,000-foot wire in 10 minutes?" asked the mime. And on the way back, stopped in the middle to cook an omelet. On the way back, stopped in the middle to cook an omelet on a stove full of live coals. Then he opened a bottle of champagne and toasted the crowd, the agent recalled, after he crossed the Niagara Falls. My uncle used to talk about that, said a juggler. Benelli crossed the Alps with baskets tied to his feet, fired a canyon over the bull ring, Barranca, walked a flaring wire wearing a blindfold in Naples. The man had the nerves of iceberg, the agent said. Marriott raced to Benelli's room. "Is it true?" she cried. "You did all those things? Why didn't you tell me? I want to do them too. I want to go with you." "I can't take you," said Benelli. "But why not?" asked Marriott. Benelli hesitated a long time. "Because I am afraid," he said at last. Marriott was astonished. "Afraid?" she said. "But why?" "Once you had fear on the wire, it never leaves," Benelli said. "But you must make it leave," Marriott insisted. "I cannot," said Benelli. So do you wonder what Marriott could do to help Benelli make his fear leave? What could she do? I don't know. She could try to help him get back on the wire and try to do it again. There's different things she could help him along, and just a little bit at a time, like he's doing her. Just to get back up there for a little bit at a time. Marriott turned and ran to the kitchen as tears sprang to her eyes. She had felt such joy on the wire. Now Benelli's fear was like a cloud casting its black shadow on all she had learned from him. Benelli paced in his room for hours. It was terrible to disappoint Marriott. By dawn, he knew that if he didn't face his fear at last, he could not face Marriott. He knew what he must do. The question was, could he succeed? So what do you think Benelli's going to do now? Well, let's turn the page and find out. At night, when the agent returned, Benelli was waiting for him. The agent listened to Benelli's plan for the mounting excitement. I'll take care of it, he promised to himself, he added. A big crowd will make me a tidy profit. What luck I just happened to be is in Paris now. Benelli went out to find a length of hink with a steel core. He borrowed a winch and worked until daylight, securing the wire. So what do you think Benelli's going to do? It looks like he's going to perform or something, so let's see. That next evening, Marriott heard the commotion in the street. Go and see what it is, her mother said. Maybe it would cheer you up. In the square was a hub. The crowd was so thick she couldn't see at first, and then that the agent was aiming a spotlight at the sky. Return of the great Benelli, he was yelling. Could it be? Marriott's heart hammered in her chest. Benelli stepped out onto the wire and saluted the crowd. He took a step and then froze. The crowd cheered wildly, but something was wrong. Mary knew at once what it was. For a moment she was as frozen as Benelli was. So what was wrong? What do you think Marriott is going to do? Let's find out. Then she threw herself at the door behind her, ran inside, up flight after flight of stairs, and out through a skylight to the roof. She stretched her hands to Benelli. He smiled and began to walk towards her. She stepped onto the wire, and with the most intense pleasure as she had always imagined it might be, she started to cross the sky. Bravo, bravo, roared the crowd. So Marriott went out there to help him like he had helped her, and coming towards him so he wouldn't be scared. The great Benelli, shouted the agent. He was beside himself, already planning the world tour of Benelli and Marriott. As for the master and his pupil, they were thinking only of the wire and of crossing to the end. And at the end, here is a poster. It says Marriott and Benelli, wire walker. And there they are together doing a show on the tight wire. And that is the end of our story of Marriott on the Highwire. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye.